Again, you are tuned into One Place, One Voice. This is where Liberia meet other nationalities around the continent of Africa to promote nothing but peace, love, and unity. Today edition of One Place, One Voice, we have the Philip Slinder, the YG Generation Executive Member. We have it in line for Liberia, so we're going to be interviewing him this morning. Brother Philip, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
How's Liberia?
My brother is good. Thank God that these things are moving smoothly. We are peaceful, and everything is just going good.
Very good, very good, very good. So, how's the weather over there?
Yeah, it's like at my end from where I sit, the weather is not hot. It is not cool. It's just cool.
Wow,
It's just
wow.
it's just cool. Yeah.
Again, we are speaking to Philip Slinder from Liberia, West Africa. Before we even proceed with this interview today, I just want to have an introduction of who we are. We are the YG Young Generation rising up in Liberia. We are the organization that trying to make a difference, change the political dynamics in terms of how we think, and also trying to change the mindset. By the way of introduction, I am the founder and the political leader for that institution in Liberia. So we have 10-man council in Liberia. So we are still in the process, but we're going to be launching in 2020. And some of our what we have on our agenda to accomplish in Liberia, the top priority, we want to educate young leaders on how to vote for the right leader. What kind of question to ask leaders, and also giving a birthright. It don't just make a decision for them, but for the next generation to come. We also want to challenge government. We will be engaging them in a very friendly manner to ask them how the resource for the country, is being spent in the country, and that's why we are coming up. We are going to be doing a lot in Liberia to change a lot of stuff around in Liberia. So we just want to make sure you know. So with me on the line, this afternoon on your end, or this morning on your end, wherever you are, I have one of the energetic YG Generation Executive Member, Philip Slinder, on the line, live from Liberia. So, Philip, I want to firstly ask you, as a young generation rising up in Liberia, what are some of your focus in Liberia, and what do you really want to do to change things into the governance of Liberia?
I think one of my primary focus have been to change the mindset because everything that we do is highly based on our mindset, how we think, how we behave in our society, how we talk with people, how we communicate with them, how we engage in all derive from our own mindset. So I 100% believe that if the mindset of the young people are changed, definitely the country itself will change, things around us will change, and everything about us will change. It's all about our own mindset. That's how I think it would be. So if we can work on the mindset of every young person, definitely our society will change and everything around us will change. We're following social media reports and from other individuals who was told or I read that the protest was cancelled based because allegedly the
I'm losing you. I'm losing you. I'm losing you. Again, I'm losing you. If you hear me, uh, we'll be right back. Folks, just stay tuned. Don't go
so
nowhere.
they and according to from other sources they said that they postponed the protest and other people are saying the protest was cancelled. So it's like we are waiting for the COP to come with their own press conference to tell the public why the protest was cancelled. We are waiting to hear from them, and once we get a reliable source that when we'll be giving our own update, and then we'll be informed about what is happening or what led to them canceling or postponing the protest.
Wow, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So as a young generation rising up, we understand that you want to make sure that your future is well secure, and then Liberia is moving in a positive direction. So until we get an update from Costa, Henry Costa, in terms of what's going to happen, what are the protests going to take place on Monday or on Sunday? As a young generation executive member, what are some of your plans right now?
Concerning the protest,
That is concerning the young generation in terms of educating them on how to vote. What are some of the plans that you have put in place so that when we get in full swing, you'll be doing in Liberia? Thank you.
okay, I've personally have I experienced a lot of election experience. I think I have three election experience. I participated in three, and one of the things that I've noticed is that a lot of young people are willing to sell their votes. They are willing to sell their right for little of nothing. And for instance, one of the contestants in two elections that I witnessed transported people from the capital to the rural area. So our focus is be telling them that what you have, your voting card, is what will determine your future. Your voting card will tell you who to elect and who not to elect. Your voting card is a blank check that the government or the Republic of Liberia gave to you and say write any amount on it. So your voting cards will be used wisely. So for the young generation, focus in Liberia is going to be on enlightening people, educating young people, most especially on how to vote, who to choose, how to choose people, what are those characteristics that an individual should get before you vote them. We're going to tell them to look for family value, those people that have family values, those people that are married, established, those people that have already made it in life, that are already willing to give back to society, and not people that want to extract from society. So these are some of our focus. Is we're going to be teaching people, we're going to educate them at the highest level from one place to another, from one community to another, from one region to another region, and from one place to another place. It is possible. I told one of my colleagues, I said, it is possible that we even work just to make sure that we achieve this goal. We are going to achieve the goal at all costs. Because people must know what to do when it comes to election. People should know who to choose when it comes to election. Because the individual that you elect today has 6 years to serve you. And if they don't produce the result that you want, you will feel frustrated. This is why we don't want most of our frustration now in our own country. People blaming president, people blaming other people. It is because we elect the wrong people. People that don't stand for anything. We elect them because of favorism. We elect them because what we can get from them today and what the entire country can get from them at large. So we're going to educate them how to vote, how to use their voting cards wisely, who to vote. And we are going to do everything possible in our own weak ways, with everything in us to make sure that this will be achieved.
All right. So that was the voice of Philip Slinder from Liberia, speaking from Liberia. We have him on this morning. He is one of the YG generation executive member in Liberia. Like we say, we have the young generation rising up in Liberia based on the fact of 3 years of research we did, and the research was concluded when I traveled Liberia 2019 of August, where the young folks they said that they need someone to be their voice, because they want for international community to understand that they want their future to be secure. And one of the things they told me, they said that they see leaders continue to come in the country, and they will promise them. And when they get to the leadership position, they do not execute, what they urge to execute. So that removing focus from the young generation, to different places. So they want to draw the attention of leaders to focus back on the young generation to that of the old folks, the older folks in the country, to make life very conducive. And that's when I showed the responsibility to serve as the political leader for that institution. We have no political interest of getting job in Liberia. We just want to change lives, and also we want to change the mindset of Liberians. So again, with me in the discussion today, I have a young man who is standing up, coming in 2020 in Liberia, online live. So we just asked him a few questions to see how he view the country. So, Phyllis Slinder, tell us, we had a 14 years of a war in the country, and the war came and left nothing but destruction of lives and properties. And then we also had Ebola crisis came in the country. So we're talking about losing 250,000 plus additional 11,000 or more added to the 250,000 in the country. So as a young generation, look at the current administration in Liberia. What will be your advice to the government in terms of the incoming protests on July 5th or July 6th? What do you expect the government to do? Thank you.
Okay, I think that's one of my focus. That's why I've been discussing with other people over and over my own view about the protest, concerning what the government can do, what those involved in the protest can do. We have had a lot of catastrophes over the years since 1979 up to present. We have a lot of catastrophe. We have a lot of things going on, and some of these things really delayed our country from.
I lose you, Philip. I lose you, Philip. For some reason, I lose you. Philip, are you there? We lose you. Philip.
What we can do is that they should do everything possible to dialogue with the protester. Dialogue is the only way forward. We have had, we went through our civil war because other people felt disenchanted and took guns, destroy lives and property. We have nothing to show for that. The same thing that those people who felt disenchanted did. When they took power, they did even worse than what the previous people was doing. So protest or war cannot be a remedy to solve Liberia's problem. It only increase our heights, increase or make us to hate each other. Instead of us loving each other to move the country forward, it just creates hatred for each other and not love. And what the government can do is to dialogue, as I said previously, is to dialogue with the protesters, the heads of the protester. Those that are at the front line. They are Liberians. The government should dialogue with them, and from there they can find a way forward on how we together can move this country forward for the betterment of each and every citizen. Now, another more thing is that for the protester, they will protest. But this part is not every Liberians want to be part of the protest. And because of this, other people rights will be, or rights will be downplayed. Other people's rights will not be observed. They will not really consider other people's rights because protest can cause anything, that lead to anything. Other people want to use that particular situation to take advantage of other people. So if the government is calling on the COP, that is the Council of Patriarchs, they should listen so that together they can sit on the table and move Liberia forward. Dialogue is the best way forward. In the interest of the COP, in the interest of the government, and in the interest of the country. So in my own view, protest is not going to solve the problem. The government lashing voice against the protester or saying things that will get the protester angry is not a right way forward. But dialoguing on the table, coming to one common ground is the best way forward, in my own view.
That was the voice of Phyllis Slinder from Liberia in West Africa, uh, executive member of the YG generation coming up 2020. He's saying that protest is not the way, but the way forward is dialogue. So he's asking every leader, government official, to adhere, to how he feel about things happening in the country, because he's trying to believe that the president should be the one to call for dialogue in Liberia. Again, we are staying on the line with Fidel Slinder, but we're going to take a break, musical break, a quick musical break, and we will be right back. Don't go nowhere, because we are going to be here discussing with the YG generation youth in Liberia. So we got more things coming up. Stay tuned.
Shano Yawonima Bia Bia Anyina Bonyiremo.
Let's go, everybody so queer so. Let's go, look at Kinga, let's go, oh me. Let's go, my lord, mama will say yo,
Pageba Mirano
Pageba mere one clo, Pageba me de yore kada kudebe, mebana bangwe. Yakenewe, Bakbeko Kako Kenewe, Eyabari, so quid as Belia Kenepona, Yela Yakemba, Balea so quid as Mineka Kenewe, Papa Kokako Kenewe, Ayabari, so quid as Zayo,
Wakumpilepele, Serapena como pesa calada de Nakakaleke. Miaka kakle. The way you looking, jelly butter cooking, no monkey can take you from me. Let me be your king, so you can be my queen. I'm not joking. Assemble, Luna Pele Padam, I would have been so. Masami level and wake here, they're going to my country this year. Who in your care, you miss jeans were great. Yeah.
let me now, come in now. Mega Lisiboga Ponazia, Mega Gosiboga Ponazia, Kakwe Yaga Kenu. Hey, young man, so quit as
Again, you are tuned into One Place, One Voice. This is where Liberia meet other nationalities around the continent of Africa to promote nothing but peace, love, and unity. We are fighting very hard in Liberia to change the mindset and also to bring some prosperity in the land so that we can continue to have a great life in Liberia. So with me on the line, I have Philip Slinder from Liberia, the YG Generation Executive Member. Philip, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Very good, very good, very good. So, as the YG generation member, executive member, what are some of the focus point? What are we looking at in Liberia in the next, couple of years to come? What are some of the driven agenda we wish to accomplish in Liberia?
Okay, for the YG, which is the young generation, one of our focus point or our objective would be educating young people on how to vote wisely. Now, we have a lot of problems that need to be addressed. addressed by our leaders, addressed by those that we elect. And the only way that we or the young generation can make the maximum impact on the livelihood of Liberian or achieve our goal speedily is to first of all educate those that we want to make the change. Those that want to be a change maker, those that we want to be a change, those that we want to change their mindset, to change the way they think, the way they behave, is to educate them. Because education have the power to shift one's mind. The way you think, you have the power to do it. The way you behave, the way you interact with other people, you have to do it. And our educator is not going to be academic education, but educating them how to vote, how to select the right leader, and how they can choose who can represent them. And then our next thing is going to be we have choose our leaders. We have choose you. We elected. We have seen the potential in you. And what next we are going to tell you to do is to use our resources wisely. Now Liberia have a lot of resources. We have diamond, we have gold, we have timber, we have rubber, we have a lot of resources, precious stones. We have them. But our country is still backward because of those people that we elect. They have not been able to make wise decisions that our resources will be used and equally distributed on every Liberian. When I was a kid, someone told me that the resources Liberia have, if our government can use it wisely, every Liberian will not work. And I was like, wow. And if we have people with a mindset that can think that way, then why is it that over 75% of our population is dying poverty? And then I sat down, as I grew up, I reached at a particular level, and I said to myself, it is all because of leadership. Liberia's problem has been leadership. We got our independence in 1847. Up to present, it's all about leadership. Our major problem has been leadership. And if young generation, if we have teach, coach, and train those people that we want, or those elections that we want to elect the rightful people, if we have changed our mindset, we have coached them, we have trained them, we have teach them, definitely will be able to work on the leadership problem that we have. We'll have the people that we want. We'll have the good leader that we want. And our resources will be used wisely because we have been electing the wrong people, people who don't have personal management, people who put their interest first, have led to a lot of damage. And our resources have not been used for its intended purpose. We have a lot of resources, but few go in, majority go in few pockets, and then they put small outside, and then over 4 million population will fight among the few that they put outside, and the rest go in few people pockets. So our focus point as the young generation is going, one is going to be educating the mindset and educating and teaching the mindset of those young people, those young voters. And then the next focus point is going to be those people that we have elected, to mediate them, to encourage them, to talk to them, to use our resources wisely so that each and every Liberian will benefit from what we have. Each and every Liberian will enjoy the resources that we have. And the country will definitely move on smoothly. People will not feel disenchanted. I believe when these things happen, most of our problems will be solved, and people fighting here and there, will fighting through war, using protest, all of these things will be cut off because everyone will feel the impact of the resources that we have. Everybody will feel at peace, everybody will feel at home. And that's our own focus as the young generation.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Phyllis Liner, for that clear expectation of the YG generation of Liberia. We just want to say thank you so much for that. Again, there is one play, one voice. There is where we empower. We do so much, yeah, from this platform. So you are always welcome to call us to serve you. We are here to empower our community to make sure things are going on in the positive direction. One of the team, Phyllis Slider, that I found in Liberia. I see when I came August 2019, I saw our young folks and our children on the street, selling, and they were selling on the street. There's no kind of a control. They between the kinds, they are selling, between those kinds. My one of my thing was, why are they selling when government can form a program, for the parents to remove those children from the street, and I felt like, they are definitely vulnerable. They are vulnerable to bad things happening to them. So one of my key focus, as a political leader for the YG generation of Liberia, I believe we can open the avenue. Well, we can open a program for those parents, and also find a way as government, to keep our children home from those streets because they can get hurt anytime, and they are vulnerable. So those are some of the focus and the point I was looking at. So Mr. Slider, as the YG young generation, uh, looking at our children going from their homes, to sell in the street to make ends meet. As a young person coming up, and who is in this institution that going to change lives, that going to change mindset, what can you say towards that? Thank you.
Okay, for what you said previously is truth. A lot of young people are dropped out of schools and be to earn money for themselves. A lot of young people have gotten in the street just to earn a living, and that's have been my own worry. What is the government of the Republic of Liberia doing with all of these resources that we have? That children, underage children, will be in the street just to get meal. And I sat down and I realized that the problem is simple. It's because the government have not been able to provide jobs that parents can support those children. And if jobs are being made available for parents to support their children, I don't think children will be in the street selling. Children are not breadwinner. But nowadays, if a God have or a family have 6 children, they prefer me sending 2 to school and the rest be the breadwinner for the family. So we young generation, we are going to work together to organize programs that will be in the interest of those vulnerable children. These children are vulnerable in a way that they can easily be hit by car. Car can easily hit them. Car can easily damage their future. And their future is based on Liberia's future is dependent on them. Some of these children are vulnerable to drugs, to peer pressure. And nowadays in our own country, I think that's one of the major problems that we have. Because the same path is what other people are still taking. So if we can get programs, the YG going to organize programs that will be in the interest of those vulnerable children. Programs that will educate them, programs that will take them from the street, programs that will give them a better living. Some of them feel that there's no hope for them anymore. Some of them feel that they can make it in life. But we are going, that's the young generation, we are going to organize programs that will help them to say, even though you feel that there's no hope, even though your parents feel that there's no hope, we are going to give you hope. And the hope that you never expected is going to change your entire future. It's going to change your entire style of living. It's going to change your mindset. It's going to change everything about you. So far for young generation Liberia, these are some of our own focus points concerning the children or the street children, or the street selling children, if I may call it that way.
Thank you so much, Mr. Slander, for that good point, for towards our children of Liberia. I think you are absolutely right. And just to add on what you just said, I think yes, we should try to work very hard to remove our children from the street because we believe that they are very vulnerable on the street. And sometimes, like the young man, said, having them on the street sometimes, they could get hit by a car, things could happen to them. But how they do, I mean, how can we move them from the street? How can we remove them? So I think that's where, not only us, the young generation, trying to change things around the country, but we are also trying to ask the government. And that's one of the reasons why we having this unique, program in Liberia. We are going to be frank with the government, because we are there to reinforce, whatever leaders say they're going to do, you know. Let's take for instance, if a leader said that you're going to go after corruption and it's on your agenda, that's where the young generation come in to reinforce your agenda. We're going to ask you to remind you, Mr. Slender. One other thing I was looking at, I don't know, because we need input from other people, the way of thinking. So as a young man, one of the things as a political leader when I came to Liberia 2019 in August that I was looking at, I saw the whole dynamic of how things going on, how many Liberians are complaining that the government is using the resources. So that's what I was thinking. I don't know what you think, because I want to make sure that this organization is open to every Liberians, to partake in it. Because this is our problem. This is not John Brown problem. There is every one of us in this together. But our thing is because of the continuous situation where leaders come in to lead the country, you know what I mean, and they continue to use the resources of Liberia. That is one of the major problems that the YG, saw in Liberia. We feel like, it's not like you said. Someone told you the resources we have in the country, if it is used right in the country, no one will work in Liberia. And I strongly believe in that too. I strongly believe in that. So it was based on that fact that I was saying, like, listen, why if we have a president of the country of Liberia, in a leadership position, and they do not have access to any resources of the country, they will know the number. Let's take for instance, I'll give you a very low figure for this example. Let's say we have 1,000 in the budget. The president know that there is 1,000 in the budget, but he do not have access to take money from the budget. But what I was thinking was we have a committee put in place that will monitor those resources to see how it's been spent. So when the president gave an order to take 500 from the bank, there remain 500 in the bank. So the 500 should be spread out how it's going to be spent. And there should be a committee to monitor those activities to make sure that those things are being done in Liberia. That's one thing as a political leader I was looking at when I came to Liberia to conclude the research for this program. So as a young man, what do you take from it? What do you think? Is that a good idea? I mean, listen, I'm open to any change in the YG young generation. We just want to change the mindset of Liberians, and we also just want to do better so everyone can have the chance to have equal resources in the country. And that's our primary focus in Liberia. One of the top priority to teach young people on how to vote for the right leaders. Because one thing the YG discovered in Liberia, we see leaders come into power, or before leaders come even take a leadership position. What's going on here? Leaders will come and say and tell our people, knowing for the world they are not educated enough, to make that independent decision. They will tell our people, listen, vote for me. I'm going to give you a few bags of rice, and they fall for it. You know why? Because there are a lot of poverty in the country, so people are going through hard time already. So if John Brown come and say, look, I'm a politician, I can give you 10 bags of rice when you vote for, you to vote for me. Our people are going to fall for it. Our young generation are going to fall for it. And these are the education we want to give our people. And then also, they can also say, you know what, go and vote for me. When you vote and bring a card to me, I will give you few amount of US dollar. And these are the barriers that are going on in Liberia that the YG saw need to come in to correct this situation. So we are saying that we are coming, We are going to be an institution where we're going to be monitoring a lot of stuff in Liberia. We're going to be monitoring from ministry to ministry to see how the resource being spent. And we are doing all these things, or we are going to go do all these things in the interest of the Liberians, because we want our people to understand that no matter where you live, in Grand Bassa, in Grand Kitmore County, it doesn't matter where you live, to know how your resource is being spent in the country. And these are the mindset that we want to change in Liberia. I know sometimes it's hard, to get to receive the change. Well, but we're gonna try. And that's why we need all Liberian support, in this movement. And we are open, for everyone to come in to help support us so that we can implement these things. Because these are things that will put the country back on its feet. Where people will feel responsible. Job can be provided. The government need to have someone that can challenge them. So there's a Liberian organization that rising up. There is not anybody else. We are focusing directly on Liberia to make sure that the resource is equally distributed across the land. When I went Liberia 2019 in August, I was asking those young generation, how do you feel? The current situation, how do you feel? They said, well, big brother, the money is in the country, but there are few young people, have the money in the country. So as a result, it lead us, hard time. And we also saw a lot of young folks, they have the ride motorbike. I'm telling you, I'm not saying they say I was in Liberia 2019 August, and I saw our young men. They have to leave their family to go in the street, ride motorbike all over the country to get something. While we have leaders in position, they are building houses, they are living in mansions, and all these things. And that's why I was like, you know what? There is injustice. So that when we came back to write this program, we include these things into our policy. We want to make sure to challenge government. We want to provide the public with what happening in government, how the government is, they are using the resources, what are they doing with the money, how it's being used, how these money have been spent. These are things that we want to do in Liberia, and we want you to embrace the idea because it's going to help, not only our youth and our young generation, but it's also going to help the country to get back on its feet, in good health. So again, Mr. Slinder, I want you to just the idea about Liberia leader or president having access to fund in Liberia. What do you think of it? Do you think it's a good idea, or if not, what do you think?
Okay, I think that is a good idea. Besides the president having access to the fund, there should be a monitoring system for the particular fund. And those people who will monitor the fund should be honest as well. I have lived in Liberia. I was born here. I grew up here. I have seen a lot of things. One of our major problems in Liberia it is honesty. Yeah. And okay. One of our major problems is honesty. Now the young generation is going to be vigorous when it comes to taking decision on our leaders. We're not going to pet them. Once we have taken the ground, we have hold the ground, and everything that has been put into place, we are going to be very vigilant in taking decisions. If we find out that this should be this and this will not be this, we don't hold it back, we speak it out. I agree with you when you said this is everybody's business and everybody should come in. This is all about Liberia. It's not about Philip Snyder. It's not about our international president. It's not about the vice president. It's not about co-founder. It's not about us. It is about Liberia. It's about the future generation. Now, the foundation that we lay today is what will make things easier for the next generation. So it's not about the president having access to those funding that will be generated from our resources. It's about putting a monitoring system into place wherein if for instance, one diamond is being sold, there should be accounted for how much that $1 was sold for, how was it expanded, what's the balance of the any, and what that balance will be used for. And the public should know how that particular thing, how that particular transaction went on. Because it's not our resources are for one person. The resources is for everybody. And everybody should get a share of this cake. And every generation, from one generation to another generation, I should have a share of our national cake. My children should have a share of our national cake. Your child or your children should have a share of the national cake. Because this is our own country. This is where we cannot be deported from. And it will be an injustice if one person, one single individual, take what belongs to millions of people and embezzle it. So the young generation is going to be vigilant when it comes to this, when it comes to using our resources wisely. We are going to put mechanisms into place, working land with stakeholders. We are going to do everything possible to achieve this goal, that every individual will know exactly how our resources are being used.
Yes, that was the voice of Philip Slinder, the executive member for the YG generation coming up 2020. We want to say thank you so much, Philip, Slinder, for those powerful words, given, we believe there are audience out there watching from part of the world. Again, Liberians, we are just calling you to come with us, join us in this movement. It's going to be a movement where we Liberians, everyone voice can be heard in one place. We want to make sure, to challenge our leadership. And everything that happens is based on research. When there's a change in a country, it's based on research. When you come to an interception, where you see the cars having accident 2-3 times, what do? Are you going to sit and continue looking at other disasters? Of course not. We do not want to see somebody get hit again. So we will put, like my young man said from Liberia, we're going to put a system in place where we can, have a preventive measures, where car won't be able to hit, somebody else. So we'll put maybe a pole in that area that will have a red light, that will direct the traffic to make sure that, nobody get hit. It's the same thing we are saying here. So we Liberians, we found out that a lot of things go on in the country. Sometimes when you're in a country, you might easily get corrupt. And that's one of the reasons why we have a strong policy as a YG generation, zero tolerance for corruption, period. If we suspect one, we have to let it go. That's why we're going to have a code of conduct that everyone going to autograph, because we cannot be going after corruption. And people, somebody in the YG want to get into corruption. So I'm very clear with the members. I told them that there is no corruption, not at all, because we want to make sure that Liberia get back to normal day. It is not going to be an easy tax. It could be 25 years from now. It could be 10 years from now. I might not be living. Mr. Slander, he's a young folks. He might live to carry on his vision. And he will say, listen, in order for us to make things happen in Liberia, we got to stay away from corruption. Because there is one of the barriers that's killing Liberia. As a political leader, I observe a lot of things going in Liberia. I see a lot of things. We can fix this problem. The problem is with us. We have the problem. We as Liberians got our problem. I live in the world, for 18 years with a lot of experience. But my mission here is to carry these experience I have back to my country. And I cannot go to Chinese, to say, Chinese, come, let's do this. I cannot go to Egyptians and say, Egyptians, let's do this together. I cannot come to Great America and take the citizen from here and say, let's go do this in Liberia. So I thought it wise that Liberians themselves can take charge of this wonderful vision to carry on. So these are Liberians, these are the young generation saying, you know what, enough is enough. Leaders continue to come in the country. They are not being fair to us. They suppress us because they hold the resources. They use it for themselves. They use it for their family to get rich and build other houses around. You know what I mean? So we are saying no. It is our right to know where our resources going. So the young generation decided to come together to speak out for the masses. I am just a visionary barrier. Okay, but the Liberians themselves going to stand up to see exactly how their resources is being used. I think it made a lot of sense to all Liberians in and out of the of Liberia. It doesn't matter where you live. If you're a Liberian, I think there is a wonderful vision that we all should be proud of. Educating leaders for the next for new Liberia. It is very important. That we take it very serious. And it's only us Liberians can give our full support to this vision for us to make things easy, in Liberia. So you have one of the generation 10-man council. We are interviewing these people because it's a reason. We want a record to live. So that when something happen tomorrow, you can come back and take one of our video and say, oh, that is what you said. Why you're not doing it? Remind us. We want to set a stage where we all can check on one another, so that at the end of the day, Liberia can be a place where people can travel from other international countries to come in Liberia for a tour. It's going to be an awesome thing that when we have the resource for the country and developing infrastructure in the country. So we believe that leaders are not doing these things. So we cannot keep shifting blame from one person to another. And that's the reason why we Liberians, we are standing up for ourselves, and we're going to speak for ourselves. We're going to challenge the government. We're going to speak to our international partner to see what's going on in Liberia. And when we are improving and doing things better in Liberia, the international partner is going to also know that we are doing great. And when we are not doing great in Liberia, when things continue to go on wrong, we are also going to tell the international partner that there is going on wrong. So this is the kind of institution that we want to build. We want to build a system that will change the dynamics of parties. I want everyone to know, as a political leader for this institution, I want everyone to know that it's not every time you become a political leader that means you got to get a job in Liberia. No, I want to change the dynamics of parties. I want to tell you that there are other people somewhere from Liberia can be a political leader without no intent but to make life better. And these are things that we're supposed to do. I see a lot of so-called political leaders preaching. They want to be president for the country. But what are you doing for the country? What are you doing for the country? You want to be president of the country, yes, but you have a resource in your hand. Are you better in life? Are you promoting programs? Are you trying to help the young people in Liberia? These are things that I'm challenging you with as a political leader. Are you doing things that will improve young folks' life in Liberia? Before you come to say on the stage that you want to run for president. So these are things that I'm looking at. So we are going to be looking at different places and looking at different things. So again, with me this afternoon, I have one of the young generation from the 10-man council in Liberia. We are interviewing everyone here at One Place One Voice to make sure that we hold each other accountable for our work in trying to lead this institution. So Philip Slinder, we're going to close this broadcast, but before we close, I want you to give your last message to the government, to the Council of Patriots, to the Independent Council of Patriots. Because we're hearing a lot of information that the Independent Council of Patriots saying that the Council of Patriots was paid 2,000 K to cancel the protest. We're hearing a lot of information. So I want you to conclude by giving advice to the Council of Patriots, the Independent Council of Patriots, to that of the government, the standpoint for the incoming protest, because our focus here, we want to make sure that our people are well protected, that maximum security are given to our people to protect them during the protest. So give them your message, give them your advice, and then from there we'll close up. Thank you.
Okay. This protest has worried a lot of Liberians on a daily basis from the time it was being announced. And one of the things I always tell people, and I said it previously, is that the government, the Independent Council of Patriots or the Council of Patriots, the only way we can move Liberia forward is not through protest. There are a lot of routes that we can use to solve our own problem. Our problem, Liberia's problem, is not from elsewhere. It is from within. We are the source of our own problems. and no one else. The best thing that we can do as Liberians is to dialogue. The Council of Patriot, the Independent Council of Patriot, the Liberian government, most especially the president. We are, with the young generation, talking to you to find the best way to dialogue with the Council of Patriot, the protesters. This is the best way forward, because if we dialogue, it will create unity, it will create oneness, it will create togetherness. If we dialogue, then the protest where the government is going different way, and then the rest or other citizens are going different way. Other citizens will say, I don't, for protest, as for me, I don't care. Whether the protest, they don't protest, so it will be divided into three. Those are in for the protest, those that are against the protest, and those that I would say, whether they protest or not, I don't want to be part of it. But the best way we can move forward as Liberians is to, one, first, the president, which is our head of state, is to dialogue with the protester. The Independent Council of Patriots and that of the Council of Patriots, they were one before, and I believe they can still be one. They both, instead of accusing each other and saying words to each other, the best thing is to sit on the table again and say, you are my brother. The only way we can move forward is to unite. The only way we can move forward is to have one voice. The only way we can move forward is to work together. Let's put Liberia first and not our interests first. Whether you receive 2,000 K or not, whether you receive a $500,000, if you 2 million, 3 million, $4 million, let it go. For the sake of our children, for the sake of our children's children, let's work together to move Liberia forward. Because mind you, if anything goes wrong tomorrow, as it went wrong in 1980, 1989, we all will feel it. So the only way we can move forward, the best way, is to handle things, is to sit on the table, respect each other's view, and move forward as a country. Thank you again for this interview, and I highly appreciate you.
You are welcome. You are welcome, Slender. So thank you so much again, for joining us, at One Place One Voice, as we work together to move the country of Liberia. We are very, very serious. We're working with our international partners to make sure that the revolution come to existence. We are taking our time. It's a 3-year based research that we have done in Liberia, and we believe that we have found a lot of solutions for the country that we want to deliver. So we are asking leaders of Liberia to embrace us. We are going to be a friend. Again, once more, I want to give you thanks, many thanks, appreciation, Mr. Slander, for just being so, to articulating the message very well. And I know the audience got the message of who we are. And we will be in touch with you pretty soon to have another interview with you. Thank you so much, and have a very nice day.
Thank you so,
Good.
thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you.
So again, that was the voice of Philip Slinder from Liberia in West Africa. So we are building a system that will change life forever. But I want to say something before I leave this broadcast. My fellow Liberians, I want you to understand that when a brother or sister have a very great vision, it is your responsibility to embrace such a wonderful vision, because I strongly believe that working together, we can succeed. We can do whatever it takes to make things happen in Liberia. It's been a lot of work behind the scene that brought us this far. We have reached to a point where the young generation want to stand up to, to voice out their opinions, to voice out what they believe in, and they are also pushing, to secure their future, because they want that the next leader come in the country should have heart for the country. So my fellow Liberians, I challenge you to support this cause. We are not in full swing, but we're going to take off 2020. But in the meantime, if you want to send your support, you can go to our website, www.ygeneration.org. The donation button is there. Start to support us. Do not wait till last minute of time. It is good to plan ahead of schedule. Liberia at this time need help. We do not want to return back to war. I repeat, we do not want to return back to war. So therefore, we Liberians must do something. If somebody have a vision and they're coming up, I know sometimes I often hear around that, oh, it's hard for Liberian to support. It's hard for Liberian to support. But I don't want that to be a stigma on us. I want for our fellow Liberian brothers and sisters to understand that we can do this. We will have other international partners to help us. Don't get me wrong. We will have friends from outside to help us. But this is a revolution that is born. And I will say it as a political leader for this institution, there is not a closed institution. It's going to be open to every Liberians. Because the more voice we have on board, that's how we're going to make change in Liberia. As we do the groundwork to put things in place, we need your support. We need each and every Liberian support. I'm going to put a Cash App up there. You can Cash App us as we work on documents, as we work on policies, as we work on things to put in place, or visit the website www.ygeneration.org. Support us. This is a revolution that's going to change Liberia. We have worked very hard in Liberia. We have conducted a lot of research in Liberia. We know the problem. We understand the problem. And we are going to deliver. But again, we cannot push this vision if we do not have your support. You got to call us. Let us know how you're going to support this cause so that we can change things in Liberia. So we can stand up to the government and say, you know what? We want to know how the country resources are being used. I know it is going to be hard to accept this change because it is a very tough one. It is a very tough idea that's coming out. And one thing I want to change also on the land of Liberia. As a man that was born and raised from that soil, as a man that went through a lot of struggle on the land of Liberia, I know why it is. I know how I grew up. I know my root. I know where I came from. I know where I am. And I can let you know that I understand the problem. I know the situation. I know what happened in Liberia. It is us that have the problem. It's no one else that has the problem that we have. It is us. If only we have a leader that have interest in the country, that say, you know what? I'm going to do everything it takes to change the dynamics of how politics is in Liberia. We can move towards a better Liberia. My fellow brothers and sisters, Liberians around the world, hearing me, I want to let you know there is a vision that will bring change to the country. That's why I intentionally remove myself from political power of having job in Liberia. I just want my people, our people, to be delivered from the abject poverty. It is not easy. When the resources in the country, like this brother said, this young man that part of this institution said, the resource is in the country, but it is us that have the problem. We take power and we seize power and we think that we have authority to do whatever it takes and to help with everybody else. We want to change the dynamics. Folks, we are very serious. We want to change the dynamics. With your support, we are indebted to you to report to you, to make sure that the YG generation, the young generation, want to stand up. They want to rise up because they want to bring change in the country, because they want to see their future secure tomorrow. So as a political leader, I need your input morally. Call me, give me your input. Tell me how we can better this organization coming up, to see how we can work together to make Liberia to be once more We do not want our people being violated in Liberia any longer. We will be looking into that. We want to make sure that everyone's rights are held. We want to make sure all Liberians are covered with their rights in this institution. So again, thank you so much. My name is James. I'm here to take any comment. I'm here to take any consideration. You want to call me, feel free to call me. This organization that coming up, YG Generation, is open to everyone. We have young people in Liberia that are standing up, want to make things happen in Liberia. We want to educate our young folks on how to vote from village to village. Because I always say, and I will say it again, we do not want any more song singing, you came a man, you came a pa, I'm going to vote for you. We do not want a song singing, you know a book, you don't know a book, I will vote for you. It is normal to sing such a song. So we must fight as Liberians to put Liberia back on its feet. With that said, thank you so much. God bless you and God bless everyone. And I wish you a happy new year. And I hope you spend the rest of your time with your family, go to church, enter the new year with a great prosperity. Thank you, and I'll see you again.
Shano Yawonima Pia Anyina Bonyiremo
Let's go, everybody so quick, let's go, look at Kenga, let's go, oh, me, let's go, my lord, mama, will say, Pagepa me that now, Pagepa me one cloud, Pagepa me the yore, Kada Kudebe, me mana pampi. Yakenewe, bakbeko keko kenewe, ya gbare ya so kwide se o. Beli kene bona, yela yakemba, gbare ya so kwide se o. Mineka kenewe, papa ko keko kenewe, ya gbare ya so kwide se o. Zayo,
Wakumpilepele, Serapena como pesa calada de Nakakaleke. The way you looking, jelly butter cooking, no monkey can take you from me. Let me be your king, so you can be my queen. I'm not joking. Assemble, Luna Pele Padam, I would have been so. Masami level and wake here, they're going to my country, they see. Move in your care, you miss. Jeans were great. Yeah.
Let me now, come in now. Mega desigoga ponazia, mega desigoga ponazia. Kakwe yega kenu webo. Ya mane ya so kwide se o. So queer as so